Hi class, my name is Micaiah. I chose understanding and expressing information, ideas, and suggestions to become an assertive communicator as my research topic, which is right here. Why I chose understanding and expressing information, ideas, and suggestions to become an assertive communicator as my research topic was because I was aware that I was being not as assertive as I would like to. I was lacking in being forceful and assertive in my conversations and in my words towards people and even my actions. I was also struggling with giving enough information to the people I was talking about. And I think this rooted from the fact that I always expected people to be able to read my nonverbal communication, and I also would just sometimes assume that people were close enough to me that they just understood how I was feeling or what I was thinking or why I was acting the way I was. And I had to come to the conclusion that people can't read minds and that it didn't work that way, and that wasn't a very good communication skill, and I was lacking there. Um, but I wanted to be able to be respected for being an assertive communicator, and I wanted to feel confident in my knowledge of understanding people, and I wanted to feel confident in the fact that I could say the things that I meant and not be afraid to express that to people, and I didn't have to back down. So that was all that was in this slide right here. And then I realized that I needed to work on this because I was really unsuccessful when it came to actually listening to people on a daily basis and listening to them to understand what they were saying, because I have a very bad habit of listening to people and then just thinking at the time what my next response is going to be, what my next remark will be to them, and that is not a good communication skill. When you're speaking to someone, you want to be able to listen to what they're saying and actually understand and be analyzing that while they're speaking, rather than, just trying to find a way that you can relate to the conversation to keep the conversation going. And I think that this is also a habit people have because they want to make the conversation about themselves without realizing it, because it's an easier topic for them to talk about rather than talking about somebody else and being interested in what they're saying. Another reason that I felt like I needed to do this as my strategy and my way of becoming a better communicator was because I was very aware that I was beating around the bush a lot of the time, and I still do. I'm still working on this, but I would try and avoid the really tough conversations and conflict and try to just go the easy way out and just say okay and walk away, or, not really put my true input in. And being an assertive communicator, you have to be direct. You have to be confident in what you're saying. And even when those conversations can be really intense, you have to be able to be confident in what you're talking about, or else, people either are not going to fully value what you're saying, they might not believe you. It's just not going to have a very good outcome most of the time. And I just want to be able to feel confident in the fact that I can be clear in what I'm saying to people, and they're gonna understand what I'm talking about, and they're gonna respect what I'm saying because I am assertive in being confident about what I'm saying. So far during my research, useful strategies that I've found really have helped me in changing these about myself to become an assertive communicator is that I've been applying a lot of self-monitoring, and self-monitoring requires you to not be shy. You have to be very confident and very powerful in what you're talking about. But you also have to be very aware of what you're saying yourself rather than the situation. For me, I've had to step back a lot and just sit and think, how are my words making other people feel? Like, how are these words going to be interpreted in the eyes of somebody else? So that's been one of my biggest things, is the self-monitoring. Another really big thing is that I've been trying to pay really close attention to people's behavior and observe the way that people act and why that they act the way they do and how they act when I speak to them. And if my communication is coming off passive aggressive or it's coming off in a positive way. And that's a really big thing, is nonverbal communication when it comes to assertive communication, because you need to see the way that people are reacting and make sure that you're being forceful and secure in the way that you're talking and not being aggressive. And it's a really hard line for people to come in between. So my biggest focus with that has been finding a good balance of being assertive and forceful and knowing that what I'm talking about is definite rather than being, not so sure or coming off passive aggressive or even just straight up aggressive to people. My biggest help and strategy that I've learned is just keeping your emotions in check. If you can keep your emotions in check, you can get out all of the angry thoughts, upset thoughts, or reactions. You're not going to be acting out based off of the way that you feel. You need to be based off of actual logic and the reality of the conversation or situation. So that's been my biggest focus because I have a bad habit of wanting to just react out of anger or hurt, and it's not a clean slate, it's not a clear brain of just actually thinking logically. And so that's what I've been trying to focus on the most. This is my Works Cited. I hope that you guys all have a great week. Thank you very much.